Hi YouTube, I just wanted to share this visual journal by Dyan Reaveley. I'm about to alter the front cover and wanted to share my process. So on the top I'm using gesso. It's Liquitex Basics Acrylic White Gesso. I've already started the process and I am using Lumière paints to give it color. What I want to do is a gradient / ombre effect. The first color I'm using is this. It's the Lumière Light Body Acrylic in 556 Halo Blue Gold. So what I've done is put out some of the gesso along the cover and just put a couple of drops each of the Lumière. Now I'm going to take my very well loved credit card and start to move this color along. I may need to add more Lumière for the amount of color that I would like to have on the cover here because I want it to be pretty intense. It's going to be a mermaid theme. So far so good. I really love gesso and I love the texture that it creates. And I actually, even though I'm using the Liquitex in this project, I also am a big fan, let me grab it, of the Martha Stewart Crafts Gesso Primer. This one's also white. This one is grittier and thicker, and I love the texture of it. However, on this cover, I want it to have a little bit of a smoother finish, so I decided to go with the Liquitex. So far, this is a nice blue, but I would like it to be a little darker, so I'm going to add a little more of the paint, doing this one-handed. So a few more drops of the Halo Blue Gold. I found with the Lumière Light Body acrylics that it depends on the surface. A little can go a long way. Sometimes, though, I've noticed that I need to add quite a bit to get the color that you actually see in the bottle. For instance, I have made some spray mists with the light body acrylics, and I've noticed that it uses quite a bit of the Lumière to get a good amount of color to come out in the spray mist. Otherwise it comes out pretty little more subtle than I would like. So right now I'm doing kind of a wave effect with the with the gesso and paint. There goes my cap. And so far what I like is that it's sort of naturally giving the look of the ocean with the white of the gesso mixing in with the blue of the paint. Okay, next layer. Something that I have noticed with this particular bottle is that the gesso gets dried and stuck in the bottle cap pretty easily, so I try to, every time I use it, clean up around the cap, and that will save you, your prep time next time you use it. Okay, so this time I'm using the 572 Pearlescent Emerald. And I'm just going to splat a whole bunch of color this time. I don't do a whole lot of planning in terms of the projects that I do. A lot of times I just like to see what happens. I have a rough idea in my head and then I just go for it. Sometimes it works out and sometimes I end up, you know, maybe gessoing over what I just did and starting again, and that's something that I really loved in learning about the art journaling process, is that I learned that almost any mistake or something that you don't like in the project can be covered up and started again. So that's pretty awesome that, you know, most little acrylic paintings and things that I do, if I don't really like how it's coming out, I just gesso over it, and as long as I do it on, you know, pretty decent quality mixed media paper or watercolor paper, you know, the paper can withstand the changes, and it adds layering and texture, so that's pretty cool. Okay. So, kind of a seafoam green. So that's appropriate for a mermaid motif. This will probably need some tune-ups after it dries, and, you know, I can kind of figure it out from there, but this is just a starting point. Okay, and so the last third of the cover, I'm going to cover with a more turquoise color, and that is 571 Pearl Turquoise. This has been one of my favorite Lumière paints that I have tried out of the kit so far. I've been using a lot of this one. I'm trying not to overuse it because it's going to be gone soon. Trying to experiment with some of the other colors. And just as I'm laying this one down, it's looking pretty similar in color to the green above it. So I don't know how much of a change there's going to be, but the gesso is showing up a lot more in this layer, so it's kind of looks like crashing waves. I'm still learning as far as editing in the YouTube process, so I'm going to allow this to dry and hopefully tack on another part to this video so you can see some of the images that I'm going to be using and what happens once this dries and what I add to it. But I thought I would check in and just show what I'm doing with this one. I've noticed through watching a lot of art journal tutorials that I'm feeling more confident about just trying stuff out, and you know, I especially like the artists that talk about, you know, that imperfection is beautiful, and it actually is an essential part of the creative process, because I think anytime we strive to be perfect, you know, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and I don't know that great art can really come out of that, at least for me. That's how it's been working. If I'm thinking too much about perfection, you know, the project doesn't really turn out very well, because I have this vision in my mind that it's supposed to look like this very specific image, and then if it doesn't turn out, it's like, well, I've got to do some refining and just let go, and let go of the idea of maybe what I had initially pictured, because with art materials, they don't always do what you think they're going to do. The paint has texture and a certain amount of pigment, and you know, it can be unpredictable as far as how it's going to look. And then of course there's the drying, which something can look very different, you know, the next day after you've allowed it to dry. So anyway, that's part 1 of my gradient art journal cover, and I've already used some of the paper inside, and if this weren't super wet I would show you some of those pages right now, but I've been really happy so far with the paper quality, and the size seems to be a good one. It's 9 by 12, so it's big but not overwhelmingly big for me. And I think it's a perfect time to start an art journal because it's 2014, it's a new year, and great time to start a creative journal to document this new year and all the changes. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you have any comments or questions, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.